Thank you for watching this video. My presentation talks about reconceptualizing the food web. Food is a part of a cultural identity. Many a times it indicates where we come from. A large portion of population is thereby involved in food production. As we see around, 42% of the population is involved in agricultural sector, whereas it contributes just 16% to the national GDP. Of all the employed in this sector, farmers earn the least. In an ideal situation, a farmer could directly sell his produce to the end consumer via a market. However, in reality, in India, there is an evident bottleneck which restricts the farmers to do so. Let us study the food flow to Mumbai city. Farmers around Mumbai have three options. First, sell their produce to government at MSP, which is however not available for majority products. Second, sell it to regional markets, which has less consumption rate. Hence, the only option is the Vashi APMC. From the APMC, the commission agents sell the farmers' produce to dealers at other APMCs, the BMC markets, to large hotels and restaurant chains or corporate sellers. Street vendors, smaller restaurants, and other local traders buy their goods from the BMC markets. We can clearly see from this diagram that there exists a bottleneck, which is the APMC. Food takes at least 3 to 4 days to reach to the consumers, which increases the wastage and cascades the commission at every stage. Due to this, farmers get a meager share of the amount that we pay. As shown, food from Vashi APMC is brought to Borivali and Dadar municipal markets and further distributed to different other locations. These are some site images and the wastage at APMC and BMC markets. Here, one can see the distribution of other types of markets, local street vendors, municipal markets, formal and informal markets around the city. More recently, an increasingly popular concept of a market is the farmer's market, where the farmer and the end consumer come in direct contact. Such markets are really beneficial for the farmers as well as the consumers because multitudes of middlemen can be eliminated. This helps the farmers to earn a fair price and consumers to get the fresh produce. Such markets are organized by NGOs, hence they are inconsistent in nature. As seen in the figure, they take place once in a week and also the locations keep moving as per the availability of land. This lack of flexibility causes inconvenience to both the farmers and the consumers. Farmers have to plan their harvest in advance and many a times their product quality starts to degrade before they could reach the market. Thus, the current thesis tries to integrate a farmer's market to an existing market in order to create a hybrid structure, such that it can also be used as an exhibition center, a culinary school, office spaces, restaurants, etc. Here, we aim to reconceptualize the food web by redeveloping the existing BMC market, which would be farmer friendly, by circumventing the layers of middlemen. Hence, it will minimize the wastage of food and promote healthy eating habits. By doing this, we can establish a direct relationship between the farmers and the consumers. Hence, we will be proposing a new hybrid market model for the future markets. The current Borivali BMC market is located centrally in a complex environment. The market and the law and order programs are divided by one vehicular road in between. There are three main forces that dominate the movement and the workability on site. Those are the railway station, market and law and order. Market opens towards the SV road and thus it forms a bottleneck for the moving traffic as vendors occupy a sizable space outside the market. Present Skywalk does not have strategic openings which renders it to be an urban void. Thus, this market can be redeveloped as a transit hub. Traffic congestion can be reduced and skywalk can be utilized to redirect the movement patterns. Here is the SWOT analysis and a few site images. The site has a complex environment with different types of buildings which are residential, commercial, institutional, slums and also a railway station. Here is the existing site organization with a few pictures. The current market is a basic frame structure with a steel roof and stone-cladded platforms. These are a few details of the existing galas. The area statement provides a comparison between the existing and the proposed market. It is important to note that the total plot area is 9,500 square meter, the current FSI is 0.8 and the proposed FSI is 1.6. The site lies in the east-west direction. One can see the sun path and the flow of wind from the image. The circulation diagram shows the vehicular and the pedestrian circulation and the placement of street hawkers. The next diagram shows the traffic density and the traffic junctions. Let us now discuss the design process. The site is surrounded by roads on all the four sides. A narrow road passes along the north side of the building. Hence, the service core is represented in pink and is provided at this side. The south side acts like a public realm. Thus, the central part becomes the massing of the market. The market is divided into four parts and a central corridor provides access to the east-west ends. Also, the regular vertical passages allow circulation throughout the market. The sectional design of the building was planned such that the markets to be at the bottom for the ease of access and the hybrid programs at higher levels. A scaffolding would allow porosity to the building. Further, an independent and aesthetic roof over the building would provide a singular and unique identity to the hybrid structure. A large independent roof and the porous building allows good ventilation of hot air. Let's now discuss the massing model of the proposed building. The grey area carves out the vehicular circulation from the massing. The idea at this stage was to cascade the building and keep the upper floors light, which would create hierarchy of different spaces. It being a market, it is important to determine the service core at regular intervals. Further, the plinth is designed as a platform for farmers' market, which is a temporal structure. It can also be used for other recreational activities. Further, the breakdown of massing sectionally lets us create terraces and pockets at higher levels. An important element here is to incorporate the skywalk which bridges between the programs. Lastly, the use of a large and a lightweight roof which encompasses the building would provide good shelter against the climatic conditions. The plinth is primarily designed for a farmer's market. The figure below shows the vehicular movement around the structure. The ground floor is divided into four different markets, starting from the left: fish market, vegetable market, formal market, and flea market. The pedestrian circulation on this floor is uncoiled and simple, providing connectivity to both ends. These are small rental or storage spaces for long distance farmers. The first floor consists of hybrid programs such as seafood restaurant, culinary school, and exhibition spaces. The figure shows the pedestrian circulation on the first floor. The last floor consists of BMC offices, restaurant, and formal market on the skywalk. The figure shows the pedestrian circulation on the second floor. Let us now discuss the ground floor plan. It is a linear 180 by 50 meter island plot surrounded by roads. The southern facade faces the court building and is adjacent to the market road. This side of the building is heavily crowded. Thus, the plinth is designed to allow a free flow in and out of the market. The eastern side of the building lies adjacent to the SV road. Hence, a direct access to the basement parking and the load and unload zone for trucks is provided on this side in order to avoid traffic congestion. The yellow and the maroon highlighters represent the storage and the waste collection rooms respectively. These are strategically placed to allow easy access for the trucks throughout the load and unload zone. Ramps have been provided for the ease of loading and unloading. The market building is a composite structure made up of scaffolding and brick walls. The building has a central aisle of roof columns which are different from the building structure. The ground floor plan is divided into four different markets with staircases every 30 meters. Let us now focus on to the fish market. The fish market is purposefully sidelined to avoid the spread of foul odor. It is designed like a centrally air-conditioned glass box. This would prevent the spread of foul odor and also provide lower temperatures for fishes. The market has 78 galas in total divided into 3 long clusters. The clusters are such that it provides a central storage that can be shared by both the neighboring platforms. The material of the seating is granite and that for the fish platform is PVC plastic. This is the view of the fish market. Moving on to the vegetable market. The vegetable market has different gala clusters on both the sides, allowing the central aisle to be the main circulation. Every cluster has a work and lift typology, where on the lower level, the galas can be used for trade and the upper level can be used for storage or living space. Every cluster has a waste collection and storage room. In total, there are 93 vegetable galas. Focusing our attention to single galas. Storage space has been provided under the platforms. Every gala shares a partition wall with the louvered window for ventilation. Moving on to the formal market. The plinth merges into the market, creating informal spaces and small seating gestures. The market has a huge storage space and waste collection shared by the galas. This market is repeated on the first floor. The galas of this market are 3 meter by 3 meter square spaces provided with a L-shaped platform with storage facility under the platform and in the overhead space. Lastly, we focus onto the flea market. The flea market is diagonally oriented and has direct access to SV Road. It has two types of galas. There's centrally aligned galas and shops on both the sides. The purpose of a flea market is to rent it on temporary basis for festivals or workshops, or can also be permanently rented. The central gala is designed with a rectangular platform running around the periphery with storage space beneath. The partition wall divides the galas in two parts. This is a view from the flea market. Let us now focus on to the farmers market. The relationship between the farmers market and the flea market is evident from this picture. The small seating gestures by the plinth can be utilized to trade by the farmers. The farmers market is provided with a temporary tensile structure made up of thin steel columns and tensile cloth to allow filtered sunlight. The first floor plan consists of hybrid programs such as seafood restaurant, exhibition center, culinary school and small organic farm. The formal market is extended on the first floor. The view from the passage outside the exhibition center is shown. The aesthetics of the roof and the porosity of the building would encourage people to admire the building standing at this passage. The view from the formal markets is as shown. The central voids in the formal market allows one to look over the market beneath. The second floor plan consists of hybrid programs such as rooftop restaurant and BMC offices. The skywalk is incorporated into the building, which would provide a bridge between the programs. Since skywalk is connected to the railway station, it would encourage people to enter the market and thus change the movement pattern. The skywalk has small landscape gestures giving it the aesthetics of a sky garden. Let us experience the view of the BMC offices from this corner. Let's view it now from the rooftop restaurant towards the skywalk. Let's experience the view of the building from the skywalk. The front elevation from the market road is as shown. Let's see the details here. Detail A shows the front elevation of the fish market, gallery of the seafood restaurant and the BMC offices on top. Detail B shows the interaction at the formal shops on the roadside, the culinary school and the rooftop restaurant on the second level. Detail C depicts the interrelationship between the formal and the farmers market. The last detail shows the extended skywalk. The longitudinal section shows how the skywalk intervenes into the project. Further, the section cuts through all the markets depicting the experience of fish market, the vegetable market, formal market, and the flea market. This is a cross section passing through the fish market. The ground floor is the fish market and the first floor is the seafood restaurant, and the second level is the BMC offices. The skywalk can be seen in elevation. This is a cross section passing through the vegetable market. The basement provides parking space. The ground floor shows the vegetable gala clusters with storage and rental above it. The first floor shows the exhibition center and different terraces. The second floor shows the kitchen of the rooftop restaurant. This is the cross section of the formal market. Above the basement is the formal market, and the temporal structure to the right is the farmers market. The formal market is extended to the first floor, and on the second floor shows the connection to the skywalk. This is the isometric view from the left corner and the right corner. This picture represents the wall section through the fish market. The detail A is the roof detail, which will be explained later. The detail B is the lintel detail. The RCC slab is casted on the decking sheet and further is bolted to the steel I-beam section. The vertical louvers are fixed in a wooden frame above the window to let in partial light. Detail C represents the joinery of the curtain walling connecting to the I-beam section. Detail D represents the curtain walling detail getting attached to the ground. The roof is supported by 3 aisles of columns. The columns are placed at an interval of 9 meters. The Y-shaped columns at the north-south ends are made up of steel and are supported by the concrete pads below them. The central V-shaped columns are also supported by concrete pads. The fabricated I-beams rest on the arms of the Y-shaped columns and the V-shaped columns. The box sections connects the fabricated I-beams longitudinally. Further, the steel battens run laterally, creating a grid. On the top of this grid is the final roofing material. It consists of 2 layers. The lower layer is the insulation, which keeps the structure cool, and the aluminium corrugated sheets get bolted to the insulation layer. Wooden UPVC fins are used on the inner side of the roof for aesthetic purpose. The roof is divided longitudinally into 2 groups of 8 bays each, the central base being at the higher level than the base at the end. This 1:80 slope is provided for the rainwater, which passes through the gutters provided at both longitudinal ends. On the right hand side is the material palette of the roof. This is the material palette for the building. Glass is used for curtain walling in the fish market to prevent the foul odor. The toughened glass is 15 mm thick, which is supported by spider clamps. 300 by 230 mm I-section beams are used in the scaffolding. 230 by 150 mm UPVC fins are used around the staircase for ventilation purpose. 230 by 230 mm box section columns are used in the scaffolding. It being a composite structure, decking sheet and RCC are both used as slabs. Brick tiles are used for walls to give an aesthetic feel of a brick. Also, they are easy to maintain. Kota tiles are used for the flooring and are easy to clean and semi-polished. These are a few water calculations. This is the water supply, the drainage system, the fire, the air conditioning layout, and the conclusion. A new module for the markets have been proposed. This new market module will prove instrumental in establishing a direct relationship between the consumer and the farmers. The new concept of the food web would help farmers to attain fair prices for their produce. The aesthetics of the building would complement the context. The hybrid programs would revolutionize the notion of a market. A better utilization of the skywalk would help to fill in the urban void. Finally, the module sets a standard for future development of the new markets in the city. Thank you.